Chapter 1. The Science of Biology. First, what is science? Science is an organized way of gathering and analyzing evidence about the natural world. The goals of science is to provide natural explanations for events in the natural world. Science also aims to use those explanations to understand patterns in nature and to make useful predictions about natural events. There are a series of steps that scientists follow to get to the explanations. This is called the scientific methodology and involves observing and asking questions, that is, the act of noticing and describing events or processes in a careful, orderly way which leads to questions. Then, making inferences and forming hypotheses. An inference is a logical interpretation based on what scientists already know, and a hypothesis is a scientific explanation for a set of observations that can be tested in ways that support or reject it. The next step is collecting and analyzing data. In this process, in which scientists make detailed records of experimental observations, gathering information called data. There are two types of data, the quantitative and the qualitative. The quantitative are numbers obtained by counting or measuring, and the qualitative are descriptive and involve characteristics. The last step in the scientific methodology is drawing conclusions. In this process, the scientists use experimental data as evidence to support, refute, or revise the hypothesis being tested, and then to draw a valid conclusion. Next, conducting controlled experiments. This keeps track of various factors that can change called variables. All variables should be kept unchanged or controlled. This type is called a controlled experiment. The variables change is called the independent variables, and the one that changes in response to the independent variable is called the dependent variable. Science in context. There are some attitudes that help scientists generate new ideas. These are curiosity, which leads to new questions, skepticism, which means scientists refuse to accept explanations without evidence, open-mindedness, meaning that they are willing to accept different ideas that may not agree with their hypothesis, and creativity that is needed to design good experiments. The role of technology. Technology, science, and society are closely linked. Discoveries in one field of science may lead to new technologies, and those technologies, in turn, enable scientists in other fields to ask new questions or to gather data in other ways. Now, the peer review. A peer review is a published article in which scientists share their findings and they are revised by anonymous independent experts. Publishing peer-reviewed articles in scientific journals allow researchers to share ideas and to test and evaluate each other's work. The word theory in science applies to a well-tested explanation that unifies a broad range of observations and hypotheses and that enables scientists to make accurate predictions about new situations. Using science involves understanding its context and society and its limitations. A bias. A bias is a particular preference or point of view that is personal rather than scientific. Studying life. Biology is the study of life. Living things share some characteristics, and these are that they are made up of basic units called cells, are based on a universal genetic code, obtain and use materials and energy, grow and develop, reproduce, respond to their environment, maintain stable internal environment, and change over time. Most scientists use the metric system while collecting data and performing experiments.